Welcome everyone back to the Wild Rift Open 4 by FSL, of course powered by Intel and Yahoo. My name is Infinity and beside me is Riku. And Riku, we're now in the Grand Finals day.
Woo! I know we're at the very last day of our Wild Rift Open 4, and it's amazing. We saw a lot of crazy matches yesterday. We saw a very crazy long 36-minute game. Wild Rift, by the way, it was so intense. We got we got a full BO3 yesterday, and now we're at the semifinals into the Grand Finals day.
Yeah, and right now what we have for the semifinals is MXH Lotus Ladies and Grindsky Eris as shown on screen when it comes to our brackets right now for Wild Rift Open 4. And for the upper bracket as well, this is the upper bracket. We also have Sharper Esport versus One Snap Catalyst. So 4 of these teams are battling it out to go to the Grand Finals.
Oh yeah. We're heading over to our BO3 semifinals, and of course, Grand Finals will be a very intense BO5 for sure. And again, when we look back at the matches that we had yesterday, there was a reoccurring theme, when it comes to top laners being amazing at what they do with a big 4-1 split push. So I'm curious to see if the trend is still going to follow, or we're going to see very scary 5v5 team fights instead, like what we saw between, One Snap Catalyst versus MDH yesterday.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the split pushes are just annoying to play against, especially when it comes to objectives being available in the map. And something that I'm very interested to see, Riku, is if it's going to be a Grindsky Eris versus One Snap Catalyst type of matchup.
True.
Because as we all know, One Snap Catalyst has taken in GSGA before, which was the SEA Games representatives for the Philippines, and Ayapi has taken her spot in Grindsky Eris. So it's going to be an interesting scenario if it comes down to it for the grand finals.
Oh yeah, absolutely. There's been a lot of like roster shakeups when we look back at the SEA Games and as well as FSL. So, I mean, this iteration versus, we could see a potential grand finals, just as you said. Familiar ex-teammates, I suppose.
But before we actually go in too deep into the grand finals, let's talk about the series that we have on our hands right now. It is Grindsky Eris up against MXH Lotus Ladies. And Rico, we've seen MXH Lotus perform yesterday. For Grindsky Eris, we still haven't seen them yet. And I'm curious, what can we expect coming into the series?
I think it's one of those things where the previous experience and the previous, especially when we look at Grindsky, right? They have the gold medal in the bag, so I'm sure that's gonna propel not only their confidence but of course the experience as well. So I'm so excited to see them perform in this BO3 series.
Yeah, and as always, when it comes to League of Legends Wild Rift or pretty much any single tournaments out there, experiences are actually a great ideal situation for you because you have that foundational knowledge of what would be the draft, what would be the picks, what are the strategies that we have to do, and on top of all that, you also have like the team coordination, like how familiar are you with your teammates?
Yeah, I think it's having to, what do you call this, be very familiar as you've been like practicing, their habits, their style, how you mesh well as a team already. So it's very important when it comes to how long have you guys been together as a squad alongside the achievements that you have achieved together. But I think you mentioned strategies, Infinity. I mean, yesterday we saw a lot of varying strategies. I mean, aside from the 4-1 split push that we saw, there was a lot of 1-3-1s involved as well. We saw Camille and Zed going 1-3-1. But we also saw Rogi's Kale as well getting ahead in the game. I mean, I wouldn't say we had doubts, but we were like, this 4-man late game scaling type of composition, will One Snap survive the 20-minute long haul? But no, Rogi was able to get early game kills and therefore propel the Kale into that didn't have to wait for late game basically to be late game. So that was very exciting to watch. So we could, especially the fact that we're in the last day already, this is the time where they can show some of the things that they've hidden back in day number 1, and maybe we get to see more surprises today.
Yeah, absolutely. And especially coming into the series, I think the favorites will be Grindsky Eris, considering that they are consistent when it comes to top 3 finishing in all FSL tournaments so far. So, can they perform up against MXH Lotus today as we are moments away from game number 1?
Oh, I'm so excited to see this draft. Like, what are we gonna get? What are we gonna see banned this time? Because when we look at the bans, the very consistent bans are Olaf and Lee Sin as well. The Lux has been performing quite greatly yesterday because of the flexibility and the fact that they can what do you call this? They can flex it into that big double support that we see with the support items now being in addition to this patch rather.
Yeah, and look at Grindsky Eris. They're locking on Karma immediately. And we all know when it comes to Ayapi, Karma is her signature pick.
And that's very exciting, right? Because the Lucian is now banned on their side. So what do you want to pair with Karma if you want to be aggressive? Or we've seen it being paired with poke champions like Varus or the volley spam like the Ashe. So it is highly possible for them to pick that as well, because that the weakness of an Ashe and a Varus is their lack of mobility. So that is Karma will compensate for that weakness.
Yeah, and right now coming through for the first 2 picks for MXH Lotus, it's Vi and Rakan. We saw this duo yesterday perform quite significantly well on this team. So how would Grindsky Eris counter this out?
Yeah, the CC lock, because it's so easy. It's a tap and tap stun basically with your assault and battery, and Rakan will follow up with the grand entrance. So very heavy on team fighting so far for MHX Lotus ladies. For Grindsky, I like the Sin Zhao pick because it's that big disengage. If ever MHX decides to get double poke themselves, then it's a really good answer. But instead, they're doubling down on this all in with this Akali pick.
Yeah, and right now Akali is in a very good position in the current meta. You have the Rift Maker, you have Lichbane to be able to have the maximization of your damage in the Rift. And when it comes to top lane as well, Akali has Shroud to be able to just maneuver around Renekton. But now coming through for the 4th and 5th bans, we're seeing a respect onto an Alistar here, Riku.
I think the reason interesting because that means they're basically saying, okay, that's going to be a Karma mid lane, or they just want to play safe and make sure that we don't want to assume too much. Let's ban something that can hard engage, because so far there's not hard engage on the side of Grindsky at the moment, unless they pick up a Leona, unless they pick up like a Lux again where they get the binding in and then you can combo it, because Karma alone cannot engage for the team. So I really like this approach coming from MHX.
Yeah, definitely. And you see also the respect coming in from AP champions, considering that GS Eris are still going through with Renekton and Xin Zhao so far. If Karma goes for support, it would not be a damage dealer for GS. And we're locking on to the bans right now. Vayne and Saya removed away from MHX.
Ooh, very interesting. Okay, so now they both banned 2 different kinds of AD carries. Like, okay, they're both auto attack AD carries, but the one is short range and one is long range. So now, where's MHX going with this draft? They're really saving it for their AD carry. I love this. They're trying to play safe. They want to make sure that whatever we pick when it comes to AD carry, because we don't have disengage, will be self-sufficient and will be safe. Nautilus, though, again, Grindsky has a lot of mystery. There's still no answer if whether or not they're going for an AD carry route or they're going for a double support route. And that's going to be the answer, as Zed is going to be in the mid lane.
Who's going to be the bot lane, though?
It's
Is this
Karma,
going to be
Karma
Nautilus?
Nautilus.
Karma?
Yes, it's the double support. The double support with the support items to rack up gold and to basically passively get gold, right? And now Caitlyn, I love this from MHX because they know the Grindsky, a 4 melee composition. Karma, I would say she's very mid-range. She's very short range rather, and therefore can count as melee. So Caitlyn overrides that range, being almost untouchable. So now how does Grindsky attack this backline, knowing the fact that the Caitlyn will be safe? So a flank would be possible. That means Zed will have to do an extra good job to see if she can reach the backline.
Yeah, I like how you mentioned Zed, because we have to look at Zed into punishing this back line champions coming from Lotus, right? It's only Caitlyn. If they remove Caitlyn, they're only having to battle up against Rakan, Akali, Vi, Riven, and with Grindsky Eris' draft, this is going to be easy if they remove the marksman. So it's all hands on deck here for game number 1 in the semifinals. And Riku, what can we expect in the early game, mid game, late game?
I'm gonna look at MXX Lotus ladies, where they're gonna have priority in the lane. We're looking at Rakan and Caitlyn just safely whittling down early turret plates just because they have range advantage and just because they have, again, that range advantage rather. That's why you also use the Caitlyn to basically just attack your towers with ease. And the absence of an AD carry means the absence of a possible 2v2 because you lack the consistent damage. If Karma misses her Q, that's basically it. You can't damage as much. So I feel like that is my expectation. And if Vina gets a lot of these early turret plates, then the team fights later on. The contest on Rift Herald will be difficult unless AA, she's able to reach Vina in the backline.
All right, early game is the name of the game for Lotus in this game number 1. We're now here in the Rift for the semi-finals. And yesterday, Riku, we talked about how a lack of marksman will have a much more difficult time when it comes to objectives. And I don't see any marksman for Grindsky Eris.
Absolutely. That's why they will need Rift Herald. Potential first blood
coming from both teams.
Yeah.
Type of situation wherein there would not be any kills thus far because Nautilus is tanky, Karma has shields. It's pretty much safe for both dual laners.
And going back to what we brought up earlier, the fact that they don't have any AD carry Infinity is that, yeah, they will prioritize Rift Herald 100% of the time because as most of them are very short range, they can't reach the tower. Caitlyn's just gonna poke them out. Just gonna wave clear. So Rift Herald will be 100% prioritized by Grindsky.
And as we're seeing right now, right? What you said it a while ago, when it comes to early game, Vina will have the advantage and will have the lead because of the range. And now it's consistently lane priority by MXH Lotus in the bot lane. And now with that said, where would Grindsky Eris look forward to in other lanes? What would be their lane prio in this game 1?
Top lane, 100%. We've seen Ngokbe's performance on the Riven. She's able to sustain herself in the lane, win 1v1. And I think that would be the next worry. The fact that she's paired with Mei on a champion that is very easy to execute wise when it comes to CC, that means they can funnel all their gold while Vina and Huyen are safe in the lane. It feels like, Mei at this point is going to focus a lot on mid lane and especially top side. So Mei doesn't have to worry about too much rather at bot lane.
So yeah, we'll see how the rotations are for the jungle because that states if you're going into top side for Grindsky Eris, you want to put in pressure on that point. And I think at this point in time, having 2 supports, you're heavily relying on those team fights.
Yes.
Right?
Oh,
but
wow.
right now,
Nice
going through, speaking of which, they're engaging, they're going aggressive. That's a 2-for-1 trade already in this fight. Grindsky Eris takes the prio bot lane.
That's an amazing hook by Ayapi there. Able to catch out Vina, who doesn't have flash anymore, who doesn't have exhaust, which means Ayapi can try again, can see and find an opportunity, see if she can get a hook. That was really nicely played, and the fact that they get 2 kills on that is super good as well.
Absolutely fantastic. I mean, this is not something that we expect. A while ago, we were talking about how Caitlyn and Vina would have that potential to just punish UG Min with Ayapi in the dual lane, but this changes everything. Whoa. And on the other hand, it's going to be AA with the ultimates onto Akali. Gonna be enough though to punish close from the shurikens.
Very close. I feel like she was so prepared to go. Oh, Cowgirl.
Forcing out the Dominus.
Yeah, Dominus is gone. And I think so far, Ngokbe has shown her prowess in the top lane, especially as the Riven. Very self-sufficient. Without the assistance of Mei, she's more than fine and even getting priority over this lane. We talked about how Grindsky badly needs this Rift Herald due to the lack of AD carry that can sink towers. So her, Ngokbe, getting priority is such a big deal for MXH Lotus.
Yeah, and right now, Having that top lane prio for MXH Lotus means that if they do take the tower up against Hellgirl in this early game before 5 minutes, that Rift Herald contest, that Rift Herald objective for GS Eris is going to be significantly much harder to take down. So we'll see how this will turn out as Grindsky Eris looks to have a prio bot lane, just the jungle roaming around consistently, forcing out the flash from Rakan.
Ooh, that's going to be very important for the next fight, which is going to be in a few seconds, right? Because Huyen, yes, Rakan, all in, you can join, attach yourself to your teammate, but a flash is incredibly important to make a play. Flash grad entrance is going to be a very key factor in engaging. Let's see though. AA is over here. Let's see.
Yeah.
Oh, she's just going to clear the wave, help clear the wave, basically.
Yeah, and on top of all that, we see the resets coming from the dual lane. Because you think about the objectives coming up in 15 seconds. So the mid lane coming in bot lane means that Grindsky Eris wants to have prio on objectives. They could easily roam around the Ocean Break. They could easily go to the Rift Herald if it comes down to it.
Most likely as Chia already staying here, but the Rift Scuttler was secured by Mei. That's gonna be a bit awkward for them to stay over at that side. Look at Mei now, charging in. Nope, not yet. This is important! A fight's coming, Infinity!
Yeah, and MXH Lotus doesn't even want to get the dragon. Instead, they want to contest the Rift Herald. They know that they could match it up because they have Caitlyn. Or as of yet, they have the information that they need. Grand entrance coming through, the double knock-up coming in from MXH Lotus. It goes across, and that's massive. Rakan is already down. The jungle is gone for Lotus as well. And now it's an advantage for GS Eris. They're pinning down Be, and LOTUS steals the Rift Herald. But what cost them? It's 4 lives up against GS.
That was a crazy team fight. Huyen had an amazing brand entrance, but unfortunately no follow-up. It felt like MXH saw the Rift Herald incredibly low, so they decided to prioritize most of their damage to secure the Rift Herald, and that is why Grindsky was able to win that fight, as they decided to trade and prioritize the fight. But here's the thing, Ayapi got all the kills instead. A triple kill on Nautilus. That'll make her tanky though. Killer Nautilus. I love the sound of that.
I mean, attack, having an anchor, just smashing around.
That sounds painful.
We'll
Ayapi with the zone.
Absolutely. And they're on the river, looking on the Ocean Break.
Woo!
Zed coming into the backside, gets the kill onto Mei. It's a good target for them. They remove the jungle to be able to get that steal. And now Akali though from the backside being able to assassinate UG Min. The Rift Herald spawned in the mid lane though. This would put MXH Lotus in a map control advantage, but they were not able to convert 4 kills in trade, and that is consistent for GS. You have objective, what cost, Lotus?
Yeah, you heard Yang Nim, she wanted to sacrifice her life and auto-attack the turret to make sure that the Rift Herald finishes the job. But unfortunately, the damage was just too much from Grindsky, and therefore, just as you said, it's still up. Look at Ayapi saving the cannon minion to give to Yu Min, or rather, to not destroy the tower. But it feels like the range from Dina is just too much.
Yeah, and this is crazy, right, Riku?
Yes.
Because even if Grindsky Eris doesn't have a marksman, they have a double support, they're all melee compositions, well, aside from UG Min, they're still able to take 2 out of 2 objectives in the first 5 minutes. Well, Lotus took the steal, but regardless, they were able to get those 4 kills, they were able to translate into the Ocean Drake. And I don't know how they're able to just have this foundational advantage in the early game despite that.
I think it has something to do with sustain. The team composition of Grindsky is very heavy on sustain when it comes to shields, when it comes to tankiness. So if Lotus, in a 5v5 standpoint, doesn't focus fire on one single target, they're gonna have a big problem. The shields are gonna come in, and as well as the sustain that's gonna come in, and because of that, you're just gonna get overwhelmed. And take note, a Caitlyn doesn't really have innate anti-tank capabilities in her kit. There's nothing that can help her assist with that. So we're talking about getting more items in that department, because you have to prioritize raw damage first, and then maybe you get execution calling, maybe you get mortal reminder later, but that's going to be a little bit later in the build path. So I think that's the reason why they're having a difficult time. Take note also, Akali at this point of the game, you're going to be up against tanks. You don't have that shred just yet. You're going to do all your combo if ever you go to Ayapi. If you go to Hellgirl with Dominus on, this is not going to do too much. And then the shields will come in, destroy your burst.
Yeah, it's just annoying to deal with for the side of LOTUS. Right now though, top 1v1 Hellgirl being very aggressive up against Knockbit, but T-Mobile just secured the kill, and now
oh no! The knockup!
Goes for the knockup. Tier 1 dives under the turret, now forces out the quickness to go for Charm to delay the fight, but LOTUS lost 2 of their members, and now Ayapi moves down on 1. The stuns comes through, the CC chain is flawless, and Akali falls down.
Okay, she's fine. May's coming in though. Here's the thing. Wait, AA coming! AA coming! She's coming!
Really pushing it through. They're not stopping. The fight's not over. And AA comes to the backside, goes for the ultimate onto Vina. That secures the kill. And now May's the only one alive. They're diving under the turret. They want the ace.
Wow.
And May cannot run. And that will be the ace for GS.
She is on a rampage. Look at her. A very smooth Zed performance. We'll see if there's going to be another kill. Mokbe, do you want this kill?
Does the stuns and knock off the blade of the XL. Everything's being poured down onto AA. That's a 1 for 5.
It's really, yeah, that's a really nice shutdown coming from Mokbe. But at the same time, Grindsky doesn't change the fact that Grindsky has been winning all of these team fights. Now they have to reset quickly. Nicely done by Yujimin to dodge everything. But Rift Herald again, the utmost importance for Grindsky for them to siege.
Yeah, what we're talking about, Riku, the experience, the foundation, the knowledge comes through and shows up here in the semi-finals. Comes with a big value, and now Grindsky Eris looking to go for the steal. They get the Rift Herald, and now LOTUS is pinned down under Rift Herald. They have nowhere to go, and now it's GS taking down 3 members, and Knockbit just has to flash over the wall. Hellgirl, what a play from GS.
Yeah, that was a 4v5, and take note, they were all in the pit, and guess what? Guess what skill? Guess what ultimate fits in the pit? Transcendent Embrace. It was just the perfect location to blanket everyone and then CC them and then just chain everything down.
Yeah, and on top of all that, you also have Sinjao ultimate, right? You also have Nautilus ultimate in an enclosed space.
Yeah.
You're pretty much dead at that point.
Very true, bestie. And that's why Grindsky's team fighting power is very effective in these close spaces. Hellgirl wants to run away. No Dominus yet!
Nice, Hellgirl. Knockbit is just on a rampage here in the Rift with those solo kills. Now Hellgirl is down. Knockbit is able to clear the wave, but is that even enough to catch up with an 8k gold deficit?
Exactly. MXH is very aware that they cannot fight Grindsky in a 5v5 standpoint. Knockbit right now will have to split the team. How do you split the team? You split push. You force someone to be separated from the squad. But thing is,
Dead ultimate faces Enchant to disregard the ultimate, and AACC chain coming from Rakan. Massive, but the quick shadow movements of AA. The outplay secures May down. And LOTUS, you know, you want to split push, you could, but you can't.
Yeah, I mean, that's investing 2 members to distract 1. And in the end, Grindsky is able to take their second dragon, able to lose their jungler. And again, you need an additional damage dealer for sure. If you want to invest. Nice move.
Anna saving Caitlyn's life.
Wow.
Cost of himself. Now that Rakan's dead, it's member advantage on this fight. It's 3v3 as Hellgirl is on the front lines with Dominus. Putting out a lot of damage. Man, the Wall Breaker goes for CC. The knockouts are there though for LOTUS. They cannot do anything at this point. In Akali for the Stasis Enchant. Can't even save herself, and now Knockbit is the only one alive with inhibitor exposed.
Yeah.
Grindsky Eris is pushing through.
Knockbit is the only one, yes, here to defend, but can't do anything. They're aiming for the Nexus. No.
It's slow. These are fantastic, but GS has to retreat.
Yeah.
But the death timers are coming out soon.
Yes. It's a lot of exclamation points, a lot of danger pings, so Gonna back away, play safely. I mean, they're already in the lead. You don't want to give shutdown gold to Lotus. You want to keep solidifying your lead. Low-key MVP Infinity is Yu Ji-min for sure. Every single team fight, she would save her tether to Gyang-nim to make sure that she's not hidden in the shroud. The tether cancels out and spots you as long as the tether is there and is finished. So Gyang, no matter how much he tries to stay in the shroud, she will be spotted, and that is always reserved by Yu Ji-min to make sure that the Akali will never escape.
Yeah. And we may have discussed, Riku,
Yes.
the Karma cannot engage, but Yu Ji-min is built different.
Oh yeah. She built different on this Karma. Absolutely scary. Her Transcendent Embrace timings are amazing, especially that hit. And right now, AA too. She's doing a lot of work keeping Lokbe on a tight leash. She is very equipped to 1v1 her right now.
Yeah, and Lotus can't even do anything. They just have to retreat every single time. And look at the force that Grindsky Eris is doing on top side and as well as the bottom lane. It's just all around fights occurring time and time again. And now with a 1v1, Lotus just can't do it. And Hellgirl just jumped over the wall. They're very confident they can do this. Caitlyn forces out to be golden, but can she survive? The answer is not. She's down, and Lotus has to retreat. The inhib turret on top side is being destroyed as Ribbon comes through. Knockbit trying to change things around, but a double kill already for Xin Zhao. Chia 1 turns things around for GS, and Ayapi on the front lines. This is a killer Nautilus, and Nexus is now exposed. Zed coming through with the ultimate onto an Knockbit. She's down, and Akali goes golden, but the Nexus can't do that, and it is exposed as Grindsky strikes first in the semifinals.
What a dominant performance from Grindsky Eris. Look at them, so confident. They're able to win all of these team fights. They're able to get these objectives and very confident in their calls as well. Again, it all started with that big triple kill coming from Ayapi, and then Chia won with a lot of these kills. Everyone did a phenomenal job. Transcendent Embrace from Yu Ji-min. AA with all of the Zed killer plays. Chia won all of these objectives and these fights, and Hellgirl holding her own at the top lane, especially when we saw Ngok's performance yesterday, and Hellgirl really was the big gatekeeper at the top lane.
Yeah, and just look at Yu Ji-min and Ayapi specifically. Yu Ji-min, 26 assists, 1 kill. Ayapi, 22 assists, 4 kills. And that's like 98%, 97% team participation overall in average for both these players. And that is the power of 2 supports coming into their draft. They want team fights, team fights. When it comes to 5 minutes, they're constantly roaming.
Yeah, and it's constantly roaming with the shields, with their tankiness, while being the meat shield for the team. I mean, we talked about how much of a sustain Yu Ji-min and Ayapi provides, and especially if you add in Hellgirl as well when she's on Dominus form. Just out-sustaining MXH's composition in general. Like, for example, Gyang-nim, Vivina, they want to go in, or rather they want to attack. One combo, not enough because of the shields, because of the mitigation that Grindsky Eris has.
Yeah, and at this point, if I'm Lotus, I think there's a consideration for a Karma ban in Game 2.
Oh yeah, I think that's super important because the fact that you can flex it, and if you want to play an assassin that wants to be hidden and reposition, escape Yu Ji-min's Karma. She's gonna focus on you, tether you, and make sure you don't run away and you're spotted most of the time. So that outplay potential of being invisible and then just repositioning will be out of the table already.
Alright, so all eyes on the draft for game number 2 later on. But before we jump in to game 2, as we're already on match point for Grindsky Eris, we're going to take a short break. I'm Infinity, and this is Riku. Don't go away. Welcome back, everyone, to the FSL Wild Rift Open 4, powered by Intel and Yahoo. And we're now here for the semifinals. Once again, game number 2, match point already for GS Eris up against MXH Lotus and Riku. We've seen a killer support in game 1.
Oh yeah, Ayapi on the Nautilus, triple kill at the very first fight. I think that's a very telling sign on how the team fights were gonna go. I think Grindsky has displayed that they are unmatched with this type of composition with the big 5v5s. If there's a lot of sustain on the board and a lot of shields on the board, so there needs to be more damage, I suppose, and focus fire on the side of MXH LOTUS for them to immediately burst someone down, rather. So I'm curious to see what the changes are, because it's, one of the do or die, this one game away for Grindsky Eris to move on to the grand finals. But of course, Lotus wants to keep their tournament life still alive, and they need to win this one game to take it to game 3.
Yeah. Yeah, it's either what you stated, like they have more damage, or think of a way to counter these all melee compositions or all engaged compositions. And yesterday, I think we've seen a Veigar coming
Oh
through.
yeah.
Like, is that an option for them?
YES. Yes. Yes, that is an option. Another anything that can zone melee champions, anything that has a lot of zone control in general. So we're talking about Veigar, we're talking about Ziggs as well. So a lot of poke. Melee champions will have a very difficult time entering these fights if you have a lot of poke in general, and you just whittle down their HP bars before they can even engage in the fight. I think that's an option. Veigar, Ziggs, Ashe as well, Varus, Jace, all those are very decent options for poke compositions against full melee comps.
Right, because there's a lot of ways that you can go about it, right? Like, if you want to match up when it comes to team fighting, make a team fight composition, match it up. Are you wanting like more of a poke, as you stated? Are you going for a split push? Like, what specific strategy would you want for game number 2? Especially that this is a lot on the line for MXH LOTUS, considering that we are here for the best of 3 series in the semifinals. So one more lost, they're out. They're not going to be able to go to the grand finals. So it's really, really difficult at the moment to think about the picks, think about the bans, as we are going through it pretty much soon.
Let's go. We'll see what the adjustments are going to be, because yes, as you said, Infinity, it is a do or die situation. And just as you said earlier, Karma now being taken out, and Xin Zhao as well. Chia once Xin Zhao was very deadly earlier on, so we'll see now. A lot of picks are now open in general.
Yeah, and Nautilus is still open for Yapi if ever they want to pick it up, but MXH LOTUS, ladies, going to pick up Morgana for themselves this time around.
We still don't know if that's going to be a double support. Morgana Cassadin is open! And Lucian! Grindsky, they're starting really aggressive in the draft. Not only aggressive, but confident. They're very confident in this draft. They're showing, because of like game number 1, we know we're very confident in these fights. We know we're going to win these skirmishes. So now this Lucian pick makes me wonder what support they will accompany the Lucian with, because they need something that enables aggression. And I was about to say Lux, but now MHX pretty much grabbed the double binding. Dark binding and light binding, endless CC. So Grindsky Eris has to think twice before they aggressively dash in.
Yeah, we'll see. And this might probably be the first time we've seen a Cassadin here in Wild Rift Open 4 from yesterday and today.
Yeah.
When you talk about support, Riku, we're seeing Nami locked in.
Okay, strong 2v2 still, right? You've got a lot of heal. You've got the tidal wave for that big engage, movement speed, everything else, a bubble. So I think this is a very good pair to enable aggression. My biggest issue would be if it's a Morgana Lux lane. You can't do anything much because of the intense wave clear that they're gonna bring to the table.
Yeah, or possibly could still go to the jungle.
True.
I don't know at this point. Lotus ladies, still a mystery, but if ever Morgana goes to the jungle though, this might be a dangerous spot for them, because they still don't have a front line. They do not have attack that can peel for the rest of the team.
Yeah, so now that's why Grindsky is going to be removing these tanky champions. Look, they're removing Set at the moment, assuming that Nokbe is going to be playing that. I assume she can still go for the Riven or the Camille as well. Imagine having to pour all your eggs on one basket, which is Mokbe. Imagine you have Black Shield, Imagine you have also the light prism coming from Lux. So there's a lot of shields. So they're basically doing a similar thing that Grindsky did. We're gonna have a lot of shields. We're gonna have a lot of CC and try to out-sustain you.
Lotus could go for Garen. This could be sort of a counter onto Kassadin because you can silence Kassadin and just punish.
True.
And be a tanky champion that could peel for the rest of the team. So what will Lotus do? But at this point, Grindsky Eris on their 4th pick, still a mystery at this point.
Yeah, they're lacking the jungler and the top lane here. The Jarvan 4, ooh, I love this because Morgana and Lux are very on the low mobility side.
Mobile.
Yes, so you have to consume a flash. Flash is gone, then you're trapped pretty much in the Cataclysm.
We'll see.
Prevents an Olaf from getting
This
picked. Wait,
is-
never mind, it's banned. Hey.
Yeah, it's bad.
Joke.
It's a prank.
Oh!
Oh! No way!
Wow! This is
No way!
deadly.
Want that early aggression, Riku?
Yeah, because Grindsky has to put on their dancing shoes. They cannot be hit by any CC at all, or else it's GG. Remember, we talked about Camille, right? From Ngokbe. If she does lock this in, then it's perfect. You black shield onto her, hook shot into the Hextech ultimatum. But Jax works too. There's over. Okay, we're going with the
Okay.
Camille. So she'll be unstoppable. Single target city is the play for MXH Lotus. There have a lot of pick potential on this comp. So you make it a 4v5, make it a 3v5 before an objective spawns. That's how you win objectives. That's how they're going to get ahead. Intense wave clear as well. Will Grindsky be able to compete with a wave clear? MXH, obviously, hands down, they win in that department.
Honestly, I think they could. Because you have Kassadin, you have Zed. And 3 of the backlines for Lotus are squishy targets. Corki, Morgana, Lux. These 3 champions doesn't really shout tankiness, defensiveness.
True.
So it could possibly be for GS being able to match up against Lotus.
Yeah, they have to strike first. MXH has to strike first. All of their skill shots has to strike first. And I don't think QSS can save them because a Blitzcrank hook into binding, any of the binding light, maybe light or a dark binding, is going to spell disaster. So I really think Grindsky should be extra wary. They're going to be all jittery with having to move and just play these mind games to deter any sort of amazing prediction from MXH.
Yeah. And this is what we talked about a while ago. Morgana jungle for MXH Lotus. We'll see if that could be matched on par with the Jarvan 4 from Chia 1 from GS Eris. And UG Min, no more Karma, but this time around, it's a carry UG Min. And we've seen her Karma. What about Lucian?
Yeah, I'm so excited to see this because I think it's going to be a challenge because you're up against Huyen and Vina with the Lux and Blitzcrank. So if you get hit by one, you get hit by everything. And it's going to be a bit risky to use your dash aggressively because that is basically the go signal for Lotus to be like, okay, Lucian no dash, it's time to go. So I think the movement, the mobility that Grindsky has will be used more on a defensive maneuver, like the Rift Drop will be used. You got the shadows from AA. You've got the dashes perhaps. And the movement, the innate movement speed that Ayapi gives as a Nami to the entire team will be absolutely crucial to dodge all of these skill shots.
Yeah, definitely. So we'll see a huge dependence on the support at this point in time. I mean, Ayapi is a solid support, especially when considering the Game 1 performance that she has had here for FSL Wild Rift Open. As you stated,
Oh, it's a
Hope
tough.
City, single targeted CC City
Yep.
for the side of Lotus is a scary scenario to match up against GS.
Yeah, that's why it's gonna be a very I know the composition that Grindsky has is innately like mechanics heavy, you know, but I feel like because of the addition of a lot of these skill shots and CC from Lotus, it is more extra to be mechanics heavy. This game in general.
I think at this point the dependence would rely on Mai for Corki for Lotus. But he has to scale up if ever it comes down to it, because Morgana, Lux will be that setter, but they have to have the consistent damage. Torky would be that option for Lotus to rely on, to have a huge dependence on this game too.
And I think now... Wait, it might be ZR first. Oh!
Oh, the flash burned.
He's okay. She's okay.
The ignite's not enough.
Yeah, she's fine.
She's safe.
She's okay. But I think there's going to be a potential second gank because Mai doesn't have flash and ignite anymore. So imagine AA comes level 5 soon, I assume. Potential dive is happening in bot lane. No.
Could be.
No.
Flag and drag just to retreat. But both of these teams already know that the jungle is just covering the bot side of the map. So that is an information that is crucial for both these teams at a moment.
Oh!
Again, goes for the hook. Flag and drag to follow up. The knockoff is important, but not being able to convert into a kill. And so far, no first blood as of yet, despite our consideration for an early aggression for both these teams.
And no one wants to die. Very crucial game number 2. Again, Grindsky match point. And Lotus needs to win this game to survive this series, in this BO3 series. And so far, you know, we have seen an example already of the hook into the light binding. Imagine if Mei was there with the dark binding as well. That would be the insurance for them to get that kill. And we haven't seen that just yet because we haven't seen any team fights. We haven't seen the objectives being set up yet. But I can't imagine that would be the setup of Lotus. Once you see the timers kick in on those pits, you see a number, you gotta go. You gotta get a pick.
Ooh, so you have the overdrive. Looking to put down an 8A, but you have a lot of shadows to utilize for Zed. And that's the thing that I'm fearful for when it comes to Lotus fighting up against GS. Even if they remove DG Min, you still have to be careful of Hellgirl and AA. But right now, Cataclysm followed up by the tidal wave. That's a lot of CCs, and Blitzcrank cannot run. And now it's Vina, the only one standing in the bottom lane.
She's gonna go.
Chia 1 looks to engage. Flag and drag knocks up. Light binding to go for the root. Morgana is here to rescue. Dark binding is ready. Whenever it comes down to a fight, the bubble is there, but no full-on engage. Chia 1 retreats.
We'll see now because Yuji Min and Ayapi have been getting priority. Wait, look back.
Hellgirl looking to get that kill. That mark is already there. Knockback uses up the Hextech ultimatum, but that just delays time, buys time, but that will be the second kill for GS in the game.
A has been amazing on this set. And the fact that whenever she would leave the lane, like, okay, she lost this one whole minion wave, it's okay, but so far Mai hasn't really been getting those turret plates as she was already like clearing the wave before going home. Package being picked up, 10 seconds on the clock already. And we'll see because Hellgirl manages to get priority on towards the Rift Herald area of the map. We'll see if Grindsky prioritizes that because it's an Infernal Drake.
Listening though, the package is already there. Tidal wave to disengage. Flash over the wall for Eugene
Nice
Min.
flash.
Calling, forced out. Cataclysm to follow through. Forcing out the flash for the Torky. Now
What
Jarvan
happened?
Full in the front line. Might just be a kill coming in from Luck to the final spark. And now that removes the jungle from Grindsky, ready for the AD of Lotus.
One more auto attack. Vina was so low. And now no jungler. Chia 1. Grindsky has to buy some time and make sure no objectives are going to be started by Lotus. Lotus is a bit low though on the mana department.
Oh, AA! Once again!
AA.
Those sneaky maneuvers being able to convert into a kill. But a 1v1, Knockback. Looking for that trade, but under the turret is a bit scary.
Shadow!
AA still forces this down. Tactic ultimatum under the turret that will secure the kill, but Knockback is very low, but they will not push through, and GS just lost their mid laner.
And it's a 4v5 once more, but take note, Hellgirl doing a lot of damage on towards these towers, on towards these waves. And I think Grindsky can still fight this. They're starting the Rift Herald once more.
Yeah, flag and drag back away.
Rift Lock.
Again, but Hellgirl right now reducing a lot of damage onto Blitzcrank.
Wow,
Guys
bubble!
diving onto jungle enemy territory, but
Ooh.
reducing a lot of damage with the Gatling gun alongside the rocket barrage. Chia 1 goes through
Hey, hey.
it, pinned down though. But now it's AA coming into the rescue.
Wow.
Some cleanups, but the question is, how much kills can you make? It's already a 3-4-2 trade. A bit risky. Going for the reset instead.
It was a 4v5. It was a 4v5. On the other hand, May was able to steal that Rift Herald on their side. So they were able to deny that away from Grindsky, but it doesn't change the fact that Grindsky still is able to get First Blood Tower and lose a bit of control over that Infernal Drake. Ideally, Chia!
Oh no! She won! Just went in with a flag and dragged into her death. That's the rip over the Blitzcrank hook. And now AA looking to try and trade, but the Exhaust is there. Light Binding would root her down. That's already a triple for GF. They lost their members and they might lose the Infernal Drake.
Remember, Infinity, if you get hit by one, you get hit by the next one, and you will fall. And the next one, right, there's Dark Binding, Light Binding, and then the hook. Wow, that's just so much. And the fact that Ngokpe wasn't there as well. Very busy with Hellgirl for sure, but imagine if there's Hextech Ultimatum, there's the hook shot stun. You really cannot move. You really cannot. So at this point, again, that was the first display of what would happen if one hits you. Everything hits you, and you cannot survive. So that big domino effect that we saw earlier, you know, Chia comes in, gets CC'd, AA comes in, gets CC'd. You cannot lower your guard against Lotus's composition for sure.
Yeah, and on top of all that, you have to put into perspective as well that Hellgirl was on top lane. Yuji-Men was on top lane. So Grindsky Eris was blind going into the river. It was 3v5 at that point, or 3v4 because Ngokbe was going on top side as well. So it was Innate's advantage, and then when Chia 1 died, it's pretty much just a no-go already for GS.
See now though, Riftwalk and the flag and drag. Nope! Bot lane.
There's a fight occurring in the bot lane. We did not even see that. AA going for the flank there, being able to secure Vina.
And I think this is the best part, right? Them splitting the triple CC lock of the hook shot, not hook shot, the hook, the light and dark binding. If you separate the three, then you're fine. It's not an instant death, at least, if you separate them. And the biggest counter as well to these CC champions, especially as a Blitzcrank who likes to roam around the map, is having an extensive vision control in the map, especially when you're a bit overextended in the lane. So I think Grindsky is adjusting well. Even though they lost that Infernal Drake and the Riverside fight, the gold is still stabilized. In fact, they are still in the lead for couple of hundred gold. So this is still okay for Grindsky. But gotta be careful. As you know, as the game progresses, timers are gonna be crucial, death timers are gonna be crucial. We'll see it topside though with this rotation.
Yeah, but Hellgirl, ultimate back to retreat. The 4-man roam coming from Lotus on top side and followed that up. Grindsky as well went into the 4-man roam bot side to be able to clear the turret.
Wow.
Right now, Meteor Enchant up against Lotus. Gets vision. Hellgirl is still safe there, but secures the first turret top. Grindsky looking to pressure mid lane as Ngokpe comes through to the rescue. Hextech ultimatum onto Tio 1, flash over the wall, and with Nai just going through to the kill. Now Yuji-Men is in danger, but AA comes to the backside, goes for the flank on the left, and now
Yo, she's so good!
That's a great tidal wave, with Ayapi coming in as May just has her retreat. 4-man roam from GS.
She's so good, Infinity! You saw how hard Lotus wants to lock her down, but AA so slippery with combined Yomu's Ghost Blaze, combined with the shadows, combined with her swerving around. This plays a lot of mind games. Like Lotus is like, do I dark binding? Do I light binding? Can I hit her? Cannot. Like AA is doing so well in these skirmishes, in these fights, that it puts Lotus in a position of whether or not should we use the light binding on her or should we use something on an easier target to land to, because she's been like dancing around.
Oh, Hextech ultimatum onto AA, just the right time to shadow over the wall, but follows up with package from
She lives!
Flash from AA. She has to use it to go back to retreat. Tia1 with a catalyst unlocks on the two though. Now Mai is dead. Huyen is gone. Nokbe, Vina, and Mei just retreating on under their turret. But Vina has to go
Meteor
to buy in the late time. But AA just secures it. Hellgirl dives on her turret. That's the ace for GS.
And they get the Rift Herald and they'll get the push. They're gonna get towers up until the best is Inhibitor Tower even, because they still have the AD carry. They have Yu Jin still pretty much alive. That was an amazing fight because the fact that Lotus invested so much on AA and she still didn't die. Remember, Infinity, you were just talking about how slippery she is. You still need more things, which is easier to execute, which is the Hextech Ultimatum. And yet she still lived after all through that. And that is a very great sign on AA's performance on this Zed.
Yeah. And AA is just
Oh!
crazy when it comes to these champions in the mid lane. Very, very slippery as you stated. And just a quick fact, how AA practices, even on events, even on grand events, she plays League of Legends Wild Rift. So when it comes to not just experience and knowledge, but when it comes to her active practice on these champions, it's nuts.
It's very apparent. Her mechanics are on point. We'll see though. Dragon, look at AA. She wants to do this flank. She's trying to find a position here.
Gets one, Tia1 is in danger.
Steal!
And there you go! Lotus will be able to steal Mountain Drake, but at the cost of 2 lives. But the fight's not even over. Grindsky just pushing through. Tia1 with a flag and drag secures the kill, and that's another ace for Grindsky. And now this might be the game-ending fight for GS.
There's 20 seconds on the clock, more or less. The best thing that they can get is an Inhibitor Tower and control over the Baron buff. They do have a lot of waves here, but again, Inhibitor Tower is going to be out already on the base. Unless they force another fight. She is a bit not on the good side for her HP though, so I assume they're just going to back away. Yes. Play safe. That has been what Grindsky has been doing rather in even game number 1. They already have the lead. Let's just play it safe. Let's play it by the book.
Absolutely. Even though if they did not get the Nexus at this point in time, they regained back 8k gold lead here in 14 minutes.
Yeah, it's insane how much of a lead they've garnered. Ayapi is over here. Gonna be a bit of that human war. I don't think she's gonna get spotted yet. Ngokpe is gonna be busy with the Krugs and Raptors. Oh, she's moving!
Oh, she's back!
She's back!
Oh, but Ngokbe will be able to sight her down. That's a ultimatum. Ayapi cannot run. AA cannot do anything.
AA's there.
Match up against Ngokbe. Might be able to go for that trade. 1v1 here in the bottom side. Gargoyle and Chen already used up. But that's it. No trades.
Pretty tanky. Or rather, Ngokbe is a bit on the tankier side, so the damage wasn't there just yet. Just trying to scare away. Mai!
Oh no, that's 3-man you're fighting up against. Yu Min.
Dash?
Golden Dodge. Tia1 comes to the rescue.
Wow!
Catalyst
She's still alive!
Gets the kill.
What?
And Huyen. What is happening? Yu Min. Dash. And she's still alive. And now Huyen Tia1 secures her. It's crazy how Grindsky plays. Their mechanics is insane, is on a different level.
Yeah, they're styling right now. Oh, I
have to take that kill on the Tia1. That's needed. That's important. Yeah. If the jungle's gone, Baron Nashor will be open. Then Tia1 is still alive. Look at that! No, this is impossible. Grindsky will be able to take the ace once more in this game.
I thought the sweep was gonna be enough, but Chia managed to get HP from the honey fruit there. And now they get the Baron, and now the jungler's still alive. MXH Lotus trying their best to hold on to this game, but Grindsky right now have everything to 2-0 this series to take them to the grand finals. What is the damage?
Hellgirl will be able to go through with the ultimate, gets the kill, 1 down, and now Hellgirl's looking for more. Huyen delays it, goes for the CC. That's enough to buy time.
Oof.
The damage is still too much. Tidal wave is there.
Cowgirl!
Hellgirl just wrecks havoc under the base of MXH Lotus. 2-10 already down, and now AA comes in. Now the ultimate is there.
Wow.
Girl just has too much damage. Lotus
They're ending.
has to defend if they can. Cataclysm is already there. Huyan receiving the whole damage coming in from the calling, and Grindsky will secure the semifinals as they go through and win this series. It's grand finals, Riku.
It's grand finals, Infinity. Grindsky Eris with a big 2-0 finish in this BO3 series. And now we have one finalist named for the BO5 grand finals later. Crazy game. A lot of confidence, a lot of style. And that was the expectation that we had in this series. Like, Grindsky's composition in general forces you with a big mechanic ceiling. But with the skill shots, with the CC, you cannot be hit by one. And that's exactly what Grindsky did. He's able to dodge everything and win all of these team fights. They be styling, Infinity. They showed off their mechanics in this game number 2.
Yeah, and it's not just, mechanics, high level. It's insane level mechanics. It's on a different type of pedestal here for Grindsky Eris that they're showing here for FSL Wild Rift Open.
It's like the I think my favorite a big highlight is AA definitely on this Zed. She's able to basically bait out a lot of these skill shots, a lot of these bindings, a lot of these hooks, and just basically swerving around with the innate movement speed, Yomu's rather in the shadows, and just styling, showing off her mechanics. She's super good on the Zed, and I am so looking forward to see more of her assassins in the grand finals.
Yeah, and you're talking about AA. I want to talk about Lucian as well. I mean, the latter part of that fight when she was just dashing around.
Yeah.
It's a 3v1, and then she's still alive. Like, how?
How is the question, right? Because we talked about previously, like, QSS. I don't think that's going to do anything because, like, you get hooked. But it was the hourglass, to buy some time for cooldowns and stuff like that, to dodge things. And it's incredible. It's incredible how Grindsky performed. And that's why Grand Finals is going to be extra exciting for sure because, like, it was a dominating 2-0. And so far, at least when it comes to that series, it felt like they weren't challenged, like they weren't tested yet. They were very confident that even though they lost that first dragon in the game, they knew that they can win the team fights later on.
Yeah, and speaking of grand finals, let's take a quick look onto the bracket for now to see like where the road is going for the grand finals. And are you seeing what I'm seeing, Riku?
I'm seeing what you're seeing. Yes, it's One Step Catalyst versus Grindsky Eris in the grand finals.
Yeah.
It's gonna be hype. It's gonna be spicy.
Yeah, it's former teammates who will be battling in the grand finals here today for Wild Rift Open 4. GSGA going into One Snap Catalyst. Grindsky Eris, her former team, is battling it out. Who will reign supreme here in Wild Rift Open 4? We will find out later on. We're gonna take a short break. Don't go away. I'm Infinity, and this is Riku.